sports podcast with the youngest, most daring, intrepid, gutsy, fearless host on the planet. Get ready for Jake's Takes. Here's Jake.
Welcome back. I am Jake, and this is Jake's Takes, where I get your favorite athletes and stars to open up and speak what's really on their minds. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, because you won't believe the guests I have lined up. Get ready, sports fans, because Jake's Takes is the show you've been waiting for. Today's guest is one of the best-known personalities in Canadian broadcasting. He started his career on SportsCenter and went on to host more than 5,000 episodes. He also hosted TSN's famous sports show, Off the Record, from 1997 to 2015. Our guest was nominated twice for a Gemini Award for Best Host in a Sports Program. Currently, he hosts First Up, the sports morning show on TSN 1050 in Toronto. It is my honor to welcome to Jake's Takes the courageous, outspoken leader, Mr. Michael Landsberg. Michael, I'm so thrilled to have you on the show today. How you doing?
You know, I have to say that may have been the best intro I've ever received. Because I'm not going to lie to you, Jake. Intros are usually terrible and they're embarrassing. But you know, there was so much energy in your voice. I'm going, wow, he really wants me to be here. So I really want to be here. Great intro. Now let's see if you can carry that great performance all the way through.
That's what I was looking for. You know, I listen to your show every morning on the way to school. So this is pretty special. Shout out to my friend Peter for connecting us. Props, Peter. I have some great stuff to talk about with you. So you ready?
I'm ready.
Perfect. Let's start with your current show, First Up, on TSN. You host the show with former NHL defenseman Carlo Koliakovo. And you guys are smart, fun, and very entertaining. Can you give me and the listeners a behind-the-scenes look into the show? How do you prepare? Who picks the guests, the topics, and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, those are great questions. I think you prepare for a show like we do by being a sports fan. You know, if you gotta say, okay, well, you know, I have to watch this or I have to watch that, or then you're not going to be very good at your job. It really is your preparation. Is your passion for sports. So yesterday, what did I do yesterday? I mean, I know you play this a few days down the road, but yesterday was Sunday. I watched football all day. What did I do, you know, on the weekend? I watched a couple of Raptors games. All of this goes into the preparation for the show. And so I think preparing is actually really easy, much easier for radio than television. And the other question that you asked is what happens behind the scenes? Who picks the topics? We all throw topics out there, and then because I kind of am the first voice you hear, I throw out the topic. So I guess most days that would be me, which is kind of fun, Jake, because there's some days when I throw out a topic and Carlo doesn't like it, which don't tell anyone this, but that could be my purpose when sometimes I ask a question when I know he's not going to like it, because that's when the fun really begins. So, you know, that's what we do. And the goal on a show like ours is to talk about the things that you might talk about with your friends. You're a huge sports fan. What interests you, and especially being a sports fan in Toronto. So that's our goal. Our goal is to talk about the same things you would talk to your friends with.
You know, I'd love to come to the studio one day and see what it's like.
Whoa. Back off that. Hey, we just became buddies. Don't push the relationship yet. Also, you know where the studio is now? The studio is my kitchen table. So we're all broadcasting from our homes. Otherwise, I would say you should come tomorrow into to Agent Court, McCowan and the 401, which is where TSN is, and you should show up and you should be on the air with us. I would have no hesitation saying you would be awesome. So that's another reason to hope that this pandemic passes so you can make your first up debut.
Thanks, Mike. That would be so awesome to have you.
Whoa. Do you call me Mike? I think I heard Mike. No. Nobody calls me Mike. You started with Mr. Landsberg, and I said, no, it's Michael. And now you go to Mike? Whoa. You know how mad I am? Not very.
I know you've had some very big personalities in sports, including Sidney Crosby, Alexander Ovechkin, Mike Tyson, and so many others. But who was the most memorable guest you had on your show, and why?
You know, it's a tough question to answer just because, like on Off the Record, we did 4,000 shows and we had people from all over. We had all, hockey players, football players, basketball players, coaches and GMs and presidents and owners from those sports. We had wrestlers, which was a really big thing for us when we launched Off the Record. We got all of the biggest wrestlers to talk to us out of character. And that was the best thing. I think the best thing and the thing that I'm associated with the most would be wrestling interviews, because you can't see wrestlers talking as themselves. You can see them talking in character, but not as themselves. So that was a really big thing for it. So I would say in something like that, a guy like a Bret Hart or The Undertaker, who I got to talk to Mark Calloway, the man behind The Undertaker, or The Rock, or Stone Cold Steve Austin, or Vince McMahon. These were like really fun things for me to do. And then there's a couple of UFC fighters who didn't like me too much. And let me tell you, Jake, it's really good when a guest likes you. It's even better when a guest doesn't like you, because conflict makes for really good television or radio. So guys that, weren't really playing along with me and just thought, oh, this guy's a jerk. I love those. Those are the best, because when they think you're a jerk, then you can go anywhere because they already think you're a jerk. So there's a couple of UFC fighters that were like that. Chael Sonnen was one of the names. And I like people that I can spar with. I enjoy a debate way more than I do just question and answers going back and forth.
Now you know why I called you Mike.
That's really funny, Jakey boy. Good job.
Michael, the chance to have a job centered around sports is a dream for many. For me, as an 11-year-old, to interview sports stars and meet all the athletes would be heaven. But after doing this for so many years, does it lose its magical feeling? Do you still get excited and hyped when you get to meet these incredible athletes?
I would say yeah, but what I enjoy more than anything is I enjoy performing. So I enjoy the idea that we're on the air and broadcasting, whether it's on this interview, which obviously I'm on the other side of, whether it's radio or television or whether it's online. I really enjoy trying to ask questions, obviously, that people are interested in. Ask questions that are uniquely mine, that no one else would ask. And most of all, I just like performing it, right? So, sure, I love sports and I love talking to sports people, but I would love it just as much if I was talking to people in other areas. So, yes, it's still a thrill, just like it was the first day I started doing it. And let me offer you this little tiny bit of advice. Whatever you do in your future awesome career, do it in a way that no one else would do it like you do. You are a unique person. We're all unique, right? Don't ask questions that you think everyone would ask. Ask questions and say things and write things that only you would ask.
Great advice. So, Michael, let's shift our attention to hockey. The NHL is introducing an all-Canadian division this year. On the one hand, this will no doubt fuel the great rivalries like Montreal, Toronto, and my favorite, the Battle of Alberta. But I also feel these Canadian teams will miss out on playing the other great teams and stars, which is a shame. How do you feel about the all-Canadian division?
To be honest with you, I'm loving it. I'm loving it because, you know, the downside is, yeah, we won't see the Colorado Avalanche. You know, there's, you know, we won't see the Washington Capitals. We won't see a ton of teams that we want to see. But A, there's rivalries that already exist with Canadian teams. And B, you know, when you play a team a lot, the intensity gets turned up because you have these little battles on the ice that, you know, they're going to play 3-game series against different teams. So you play the same team 3 times in a row. So if one guy makes another guy mad in the first game, then by the second game, they're even more mad. In the third game, they're even more mad. And that kind of intensity is what makes hockey great. I'm not talking about hockey fights. I'm talking about that intensity that you can't stand the opposition. And that, to me, we are going to see a lot of because of the Canadian division, because these teams will play each other 9, 10 times. And there'll just be these rivalries that get built up, that get better and better through time. So, yeah, it's not perfect, but I'm looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to the fact that the season is shorter. You know, 56 games. A lot of us look at that and say, okay, well, you know what? That's great because 82 games it's just too many. So I think less is more. I'm pumped for the season. Let's face it. We've gone a long time without seeing, you know, all the sports going on at once, but now we got the NFL. We got hockey starting on the 13th. We got the NBA. It's a great time for the first time in a long time to be a sports fan.
Hey, the training camps just started, so let the excitement begin. Okay, Michael, now on Jake's Takes, it's time for some rapid fire. I'll ask you a bunch of short questions. You answer them as quick as you can. Deal?
What happens if I can't think of what to say? Oh my gosh, what happens if you put me on the spot and I freeze up? Okay.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Matt Sundin or Austin Matthews?
Matt Sundin for sure. Matt Sundin is what Austin Matthews hopes he will be. And Matt Sundin never had Mitch Marner to play with.
Cardio or weights?
I would say earlier on in my life it was weights for sure. Now I'm going cardio. And I can tell you, Jake, going cardio, I hate it. But I figure it's going to keep me alive a little bit longer.
This is a toughie. Bell or Rogers? Just kidding. I know you can't answer that. I know you can't.
Yeah, I can answer.
Oh.
For sure I can answer. I'm just going to ask my wife, hey, Claire, hand me my paycheck. Yeah, let's see. Bell Media. So, since they pay me, I'm going to go with L.
Zdeno Chara or Joe Thornton?
I think Zdeno Chara fits a much bigger need for the Maple Leafs. You know, Thornton, I think will help him, and his leadership, I think, will be good. But I would love to have seen them got a defenseman like Zdeno Chara, especially to kill penalties. Our penalty killing has just been terrible for so long. Put Chara there as almost as a specialist, and I think you're way better.
Batman or Spider-Man?
Batman or Spider-Man? Well, I'm going to say Batman. Well, you know, it's funny because I never thought about this, but bats are creepy, right? Spiders are creepy, right? So I don't, why do we pick our superheroes based on creepy animals? Bats and spiders. Why can't we have like Goat Man? Everybody likes goats. Or Dog Man. Everybody likes dogs. Or even, let's see, Reindeer Man. Those are all fun animals. They're cute. But we pick bats and spiders?
Panda Man!
Which man?
Panda Man! Who will win the Super Bowl this year?
I would say the Kansas City Chiefs are going to win for the second straight year. I think they're going to beat the Buffalo Bills in the AFC Championship, and I think they're going to face the Green Bay Packers in the Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers has been so good, but, you know, Mahomes too good, too much talent, and Andy Reid, their coach, has the best imagination of any coach in the game.
What's your go-to emoji?
My go-to emoji is actually not an emoji. It's actually these words. Emojis duck. Emojis show lack of humor, lack of interest. get the emoji and write the words. That's my favorite emoji right there.
We have a winner! What a performance, Michael Landsberg.
Oh.
What was going through your mind during that rapid fire?
Well, I would say some panic, thinking, oh my God, the kid's going to make me look bad. There was that. There was also the thought of lunch is coming up. I wonder what I can have for lunch. And the other thing was, actually, for real, how cool is Jake? Oh my gosh. Jakey boy. See, I'm trying to call you by a name that will get you mad, like when you called me Mike, which, by the way, I wasn't really mad on. So, Jakester, I would say that I was thinking what a great job you're doing and how I don't believe you're 11. This is by phone. You see, if you were on Zoom and I could see you, maybe I'd see you like a 23-year-old.
Well, you did great. Michael, I have 2 more questions for you. Sound okay?
I'm here until you don't want me anymore.
One of the highlights for me when watching the NHL was Don Cherry during Coach's Corner. I loved his comments and opinions regarding the game, and we all know what happened, causing him to leave the show. Leaving the politics aside, for me, I feel a huge loss not having Don Cherry and his hockey wisdom to learn from. What are your feelings about this, Michael?
Well, I don't think you can leave the politics aside, Jake. I think that, that's ultimately what cost him. Do I miss Don Cherry? Yeah, I kind of do miss Don Cherry. Did I totally respect his ability to say things that were interesting? Absolutely. Did I find him entertaining? Absolutely. Were there some nights, though, when I went, whoa, you can't be saying that on TV? Absolutely. So, yeah, I think that I miss him. I just wish, for his sake, he'd still be doing the job if he would listen to other people. You can't decide, I know everything. Sometimes you need to take people's advice, and I'm sure people advised him, don't say that kind of stuff. And when he did, come out and apologize. Don't come out and say, no one can tell me what to say. Sometimes you got to be humble and say, okay, I made a mistake.
Did you have a personal relationship with Don Cherry?
Don Cherry was a guest on Off the Record, I guess like 6 or 7 times. So I know him. I think if I bumped into him on the street, he'd say, hey, young fella, which is generally a cover-up for not knowing someone's name. But he would, I think, it was funny because the first time I met him, he said, I watch you late at night sometimes with a couple of pops. That's how he talks about beer. Sometimes you get me really mad, boy. Sometimes you get me really mad. And I said, good. That's what I'm trying to do. And you know what? He was a really great guy. When he was in our studio and he left, I walked him out, and then he said, I didn't say goodbye to the crew. And he went back and said goodbye to everybody that was working on the show, which I thought was really neat.
Man, do you have Don there? Because I thought I heard him.
One sec. Hey, Don. Yeah, okay. Sure. No, you can't have a beer yet. It's not time to have a beer. Okay. Yeah, we just came back from synagogue, me and Don Cherry. We go to the same synagogue.
Last question. I want to ask you about Pascal Siakim. During the Raptors championship year, Spicy P was unreal. His effective field goal percentage was 59%, which was one of the very best in the league. A player with these stats is well worth $30 million a year. However, since then, he's had a massive drop-off. His shooting percentage has tanked, and he's now averaging a whopping 3.7 turnovers per game. With his current production, he's not even worth $15 million a year. Did the Raptors waste their money by getting Pricey P instead of Spicy P?
That's a great question, and I like the way you framed it. Spicy P, you're right. With the kind of numbers that he put up 2 years ago, he's well worth it. But what's the difference between this year and 2 years ago? The biggest difference is that he was the second best scorer on the team, not the best. Kawhi Leonard was the guy that teams game plan to stop. Got to stop Kawhi. Got to stop Kawhi. So all of a sudden now, Pascal has the freedom to do what he wants to do, knowing that the other team is devoted to stopping Kawhi Leonard. So last year, all of a sudden now there's no Kawhi, and he's in a position where he's the guy. No Kawhi, he's the guy, which makes me want to say goodbye. That rhyme from Michael Landsberg, free of charge. My point is that Pascal, I'm really worried about him because, you know, he's a guy who did not have a conventional background. He didn't start playing basketball till he was really, really late in his life. And unfortunately, Jake, sometimes players get better, and they stop getting better. And sometimes they get better, then worse. You know, it's never guaranteed that you're just going to keep getting better and better over time. So I'm really worried. And God, can you imagine if I mean, right now, not only is he not worth the $15 million you were kidding about, he hurts the team. They're better when he's not on the floor. When he's on the floor, I think this year he's a minus 49. So the team has scored 49. The team scores more points and prevents more points when he's not on the court. And that is not a good thing when you're paying a guy $32 million.
I completely agree. I'm really worried too. This has been tons of fun, Michael. It was seriously incredible to have you on. And if you ever need a new guest on First Up, I got some time on the way to school.
On the way to school? Talking to you on the way to school? But tell me, if we were going to have a segment called Jake's Takes, you know, I just made that up. It's original, right? Don't go stealing that, man. Do not go calling your show Jake's Takes because I just made it up. What's your favorite sport, and what do you think you could bring to our show?
Hockey. Definitely hockey.
All right, and your favorite team is, you said the Battle of Alberta, but are you a Leafs fan?
Yeah, I'm a Leafs fan still, but
good.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk because you know you should be heard. You're awesome. You're I don't know if you're 25, like I said, or you're 11 years old, but either way, you're good. And it has been my pleasure talking to you. And anytime you say, "Hey, we need Landsberg on the show. We need a little bit of that attitude," just let me know, and I'm there.
For sure. Thanks again, Michael.
Thanks for the shot.
Hey guys, you won't believe the guest I have next week. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out.